This is Rhonda Rawlings, News and Community Affairs Director for Summit Media, and I'm here with Representative Bakari Sellers. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for having me.
Great. It's a pleasure to have you. Now, Bakari is running for Lieutenant Governor.
Well, I mean, we've been running for the past 15 to 16 months now, and we're excited about touching as many voters as possible and hopefully be able to make a little history on November 4th. We're a few weeks out, so I hope everybody's already registered and voting absentee and telling their friends, and we expect a high turnout.
Definitely. It's coming up quickly, so we want to make sure our listeners are informed. It's one thing to tell you to go out and vote, but we want to make sure you know all about the candidates. So Bakari, give us a little background information on you.
Well, I'm 30 years old. I recently turned 30, but I've been in the State House for the past 8 years. I'm from the big city of Denmark, South Carolina, where we have 3 stoplights and a blinking light. And I ran for office during my first year of law school. I graduated from Morehouse College undergrad and the University of South Carolina for law school. In my entire life, I've just been dedicated to the principle of trying to be a change agent and help those people I come in contact with. And I tell people I have the coolest job of anybody under the age of 30 or 30 and under, other than LeBron James. So we're asking the state for promotion now after 8 years in the House, and we look forward to moving the state forward.
Okay. Now I know that your campaign has a theme, which is...
We can do better. I think that if you ask the everyday South Carolinian have their lives gotten any better over the past decade, then the answer resoundingly is no. But fundamentally we can do better about the way that we educate our children, about our hospital systems and healthcare systems throughout the state, and repairing our roads and bridges. So fundamentally I think that slogan resonates. It's simple, but we can do better.
Okay. Now this is a little bit off topic, but you brought education into it. Now recently there was a poll that showed South Carolina is close to being the worst state for teachers. What can we do to improve
Well,
that?
I mean, we've been near the bottom. But if we want to change South Carolina, we can't continuously send the same people up. My race is a race of contrast. I believe in our public school system. I'm a product of it. And I think that we have to fund our public school system the way we should. And by funding our public school system the way we should, we have to increase teacher pay, making it more attractive for teachers to come, qualified teachers to come. And we need some necessary reforms within our schools. It's something that we can do if we put a priority on preparing our children for a 21st century global economy. The unfortunate part is the regime that we have now isn't focused on that one bit.
Okay. Now, part of the responsibility of the Lieutenant Governor's office is to deal with senior care.
Correct.
Where do you think we're lacking in that topic? And
Well,
what do you think we need to do?
there hasn't been a sincere focus on our senior population in South Carolina. And one thing that I want to do, I tell people, from my first day in office, all 4 years, every day I wake up, I'm going to focus on improving the lives of seniors throughout the state. That's my job, that's my goal, that's my focus. We unveiled a 6-point plan. We actually stopped here in Greenville 4 or 5 months ago to talk about it. We talk about it on all our stops. But it focuses on improving transportation for seniors. If you're a senior in Travelers Rest and you have to get to the Greenville Hospital, for a doctor's appointment, how do you get there? We want to coordinate a plan, a statewide plan for senior access to transportation. We want to focus on tax credits for caregivers because we're in a wonderful state where if you have a senior that's in your church or in your home that gets sick or injured or ill, you help that person out. And a lot of times you do it out of your pocket. We want to increase the homestead exemption from $50,000 to $65,000 because we know the only thing that goes up in this state are property taxes. Income does not. So we want to give more money back to seniors in their pockets. We want to focus on preventing senior frauds and scams, which seniors are being preyed on every single day.
Right.
We want to strengthen the continuum of care, which are your community and home-based care programs, your in-home nursing, as well as your nursing homes, in making sure that when you go to a nursing home, it doesn't have to bankrupt you. And lastly, we want to be an advocate for Alzheimer's research, funding, and education. And those are our 6 points. And we know there are more things that are wrong with the Office on Aging. But for me, I'm on a campaign trail, that's about all I can remember, 6 points at a time. But the unique part about that is that I can give those points at a Republican dinner in the morning and a Democratic dinner, or a Republican breakfast in the morning, or a Democratic lunch, and it doesn't matter. Those aren't Democrat or Republican ideals. Those aren't black or white ideals, but those are ideas that are good for the state of South Carolina.
Perfect. Now we are coming up quickly on Election Day. It's November 4th. If you haven't registered, it's too late to register, but it's not too late to absentee vote. And
Correct.
there are several reasons, I think up to 15 reasons why you qualify to absentee vote. You want to talk about the importance
Well,
of that?
I mean, it's important to avoid the long lines. We know that we're going to have long lines. We just haven't figured out how to vote well in South Carolina yet. But if you're over 65, I mean, that is your excuse. Go vote now. If you're going to be working that day or traveling that day, I tell people fundamentally that people died for the right to vote. For a very long period of time, women weren't given the rights to vote. And we deal with issues in Columbia every day that affect your lives. So whether or not you vote for me or not, just please take pride in the sacrifices that were made by many to vote. And I would encourage people, if they fit the criteria, to go out and vote early and take your friends to vote as well.
Okay. Now, if you want to speak directly to our listeners, why should they vote for you?
As I said, my race is not about Democrat or Republican. It's not about white or black, but it's about moving our state forward. My race for lieutenant governor is a clear contrast, and I tell people it's not about what South Carolina was or what it is, but it's about what South Carolina can be. We hope that we're able to make history on November 4th. But at the end of the day on this journey, we want to run a campaign that after the election, people will be able to look at me and say, job well done. That's our hope and that's our dream, and we're working extremely hard to do it.
Okay. As said earlier, on social networking, I'm doing a series of interviews with candidates, and you were first up to bat, so thank you so much.
I look forward to it getting shared hundreds and thousands of times and millions.
You're gonna retweet it.
Oh, we'll retweet it, and it's gonna go viral.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Now, if you want more information about Bakari Sellers, Representative Bakari Sellers, you can log on to sellers2014.com. If you want information about other candidates or on absentee balloting, you can log on to scvotes.org. This is Rhonda Rawlings with Summit Media, and this is
Bakari Sellers. Thank you.